For the last few years, British Railway has slowly grown from a simple Roblox train game into something much bigger. We've seen huge route expansions, major system changes, and more realistic gameplay features. But recently, the developers have started hinting that the future of British Railway could be its biggest yet, with 1.4.2 shaping up to be one of the biggest content extension quality of life updates we've seen, and Ollie even saying that it could realistically be called 1.5. It raises an interesting question. What exactly is Full Throttle building towards? Because while 1.4 focused heavily on rebuilding the game's foundations, 1.4.2 and 1.5 appear to be showing a completely new direction for British Railway. Firstly, we need to talk about version 1.4. We need to understand that it wasn't really a content update, but more of a foundation update. Loads of stuff was overhauled, and it was more of a back-end update. In other words, the update wasn't focused on adding lots of content, it was focused on rebuilding the systems that the future updates would rely on. For example, we got a whole new UI, back-end improvements, updates to the passenger system, an overhauled guard system, signaling improvements, and physics improvements. A lot of players looked at 1.4 and 4, where are all the new trains? Well, except that we got like 3 new trains. But the reality is that Full Throttle is improving the system that the future content would rely on. This is important to set up 1.5. At the same time, a lot of people question why wasn't there much content, but looking back now, I think 1.4 was never supposed to be that much of an exciting update. But after 5 months in development, a trailer released on Sunday, and it showed us what 1.4.2 had to offer. The highly anticipated Class 43 HST, an extension past Brimmer further down the coast to Penzance, in-game known as Penkan, and much more. To me, this feels like a payoff for all the work done in 1.4. And to be honest, I think Full Throttle tends to be releasing the bigger and more requested trains just before the update or in the trailer. But I don't really think 1.4.2 is the end goal. In my opinion, it's more like the bridge between the old British Railway and what's coming next. Ollie has repeatedly talked about 1.5 long before 1.4.2 was even finished. Ollie has said 1.4 was the biggest UI back-end update the game ever had. He's also said 1.5 is planned to be the biggest content update in British Railway's history. He's even joked multiple times that 1.4.2 could realistically be called 1.5 if he had more time, of course. The interesting thing is that Ollie has also explained that major version numbers are reserved for headline gameplay features. So although 1.4.2 has the content of a major update, 1.5 is still being saved for something bigger. More recently, he said 1.4.2 is a bigger content update than 1.4, and 1.5 is planned to be bigger still. To me, that doesn't sound like a developer who's widening the game down. It sounds like someone who's laying the groundwork for something much bigger. Also, to mention, the main line still isn't even complete. Branch lines are still planned, more trains are planned. Ollie has said after 1.4.2 his full focus moves to 1.5 content. British Railway does not seem like a game that's nearly finished. It feels like a game that's only just entering its biggest stage of development. 1.5 and 1.6 will most likely be the biggest updates for Full Throttle. Also, of course, that's just a guess, okay? Don't take my word for it. But that's most likely. Now, of course, none of this guarantees that 1.5 will be perfect. But when you look at everything together, the back-end work in 1.4 and the scale of 1.4.2 and everything Ollie has said about 1.5, it becomes clear that Full Throttle has a long-term vision for British Railway. Personally, I think that the next few years will completely change British Railway. If Full Throttle keeps building on what they started with 1.4 and 1.4.2, then I genuinely think the future of British Railway looks much bigger than ever. The future of British Railway doesn't look bigger because I'm guessing it does. It looks bigger because that's exactly what developers themselves keep hinting at. But anyways, that's just my theory. Let me know whether you agree with me in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more British Railway.